When we think of Green Lantern, we immediately associate with Hal Jordan, who is practically the most famous Green Lantern and, possibly, the most relevant within the entire DC Comics universe. Many claim that he is the most powerful and with the greatest achievements. However, despite being the hero and space cop we know from the comics, he has already performed some questionable actions that make us wonder if this is something a hero would do. In this video, I bring you 10 dark facts about Hal Jordan. Number 10. Used the yellow ring. Let's start with something well known to fans, especially those who have already played the game Injustice. In this universe, we see Superman become a villainous dictator and control the entire world at will. This caused a complete split in the Justice League, in which the heroes split into two groups. Some sided with Superman's dictatorship, while others decided to support Batman, who was now the main resistance against Superman's tyranny. And as many of you know, Hal Jordan was one of the heroes who sided with Superman. Worst of all, he did it out of fear of Superman, and fear is one of the Green Lantern's greatest weaknesses. When that happened, Hal Jordan joined the Yellow Lantern Corps, becoming a wielder of the Yellow Ring of Fear. This caused him to become Superman's mere henchman, who did horrible things because he didn't have the courage to face Superman head-on. As the Lantern Ring of Willpower no longer worked for him, Hal Jordan now had the Ring of Fear, which made him more powerful, as he was very afraid of Superman. Number 9. Destroying a planet. Now let's talk about the time Hal Jordan accidentally destroyed a planet. This was more stupidity than meanness of the character, but that doesn't change the fact that he made this mistake. In Hal Jordan's case, it wasn't a simple failure, but the destruction of an entire planet. It all started when he fired a concentrated energy device at a specific villain, but the shot ended up hitting an entire planet, resulting in its complete destruction. It's preposterous to think that this happened, but if you thought this was a reckless and dumb action by the character, there's more evidence to show that Hal Jordan sometimes has something wrong in his head. Number 8. Erasing timelines. Hal Jordan is also known for having erased several timelines in the comic book series called 0 Hour. The heroes responsible for time realize that all lines of the multiverse are being destroyed by a wave of destruction, similar to the events of the Crisis on Infinite Earths. After many struggles, when the villain finally reveals himself, we discover that Hal Jordan himself is responsible. He is possessed by parallax and believes he can fix all timelines by destroying them. He does all this because, seeing millions of lives being destroyed, he wanted to find a way to bring all those lives back. To do this, he had to ally himself with Parallax, a super-powerful villainous cosmic entity from DC. Number 7. Played with death. In a situation where some terrorists threatened to destroy Metropolis, Hal Jordan appeared in Spectre form, using improvised arrows and playing hero around the city. However, he decided to bring his friend Oliver Queen back to life, even against his will and despite the fact that he was already dead. Jordan forcibly resurrected the Green Arrow's corpse, turning him into a mere empty, soulless husk. This act was certainly one of Hal Jordan's cruelest, playing with his friend's life and death and leaving him trapped in a meaningless state of existence. Number 6. Left the New Lanterns to their fate. Over the past few years in the comics, 2 new members of the Green Lantern Corps have been introduced, Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. They distinguished themselves by fighting alongside DC's most famous heroes and received their rings without any prior training. The problem is that Hal Jordan assigned them as Earth's protectors while he was away taking care of other matters in the universe. This left the 2 beginners with no direction to take care of the planet and the space sector. Putting 2 novices in the middle of a situation like this can go terribly wrong and is reckless. Number 5. Jordan devastated the planet OA. As is common knowledge, the base of the Green Lanterns is on the planet OA, and it is there that the Guardians command over 3,600 sectors of space. Despite being protective, Guardians are often depicted as cruel, cold, and calculating, and Green Lanterns often disagree with their attitudes. But after the town of Coast City, Hal Jordan's home, was destroyed, he went berserk. Emotionally shaken by the loss of his city, friends, and family, Hal tried to use his ring and its powers to rebuild it, but was reprimanded by the Guardians. Overcome with rage, Jordan attacked the planet OA, decimating it and leaving only 1 Guardian alive. This was one of the darkest moments in Green Lantern history and a terrible act committed by Hal Jordan. Number 4, eliminated the troop completely. Hal Jordan, in a fit of rage, ended up eliminating the entire Green Lantern Corps. Although the Guardians had aroused hatred and fury in Jordan, the other members of the Corps were not to blame for what happened. Even so, when OA's Green Lanterns tried to stop Jordan, he completely annihilated them, one by one, wiping out the entire Corps. In the end, Jordan had acquired all of the power rings, leaving no surviving Green Lanterns. Sadly, Jordan displayed genocidal and violent behavior. Number 3, problems with social issues. In the early days of comics, it was not common to address political and social issues as often and in depth as it is done today. When these themes were explored, they were often treated lightly in the story. However, that changed in a storyline involving Hal Jordan and the Green Arrow. Oliver Queen showed Jordan how things work in the real world, outside of space, where people face serious problems like hunger, drug abuse and violence. In one specific case, a homeowner was abusive to his tenants and wanted to evict them. Jordan initially sided with the landlord, but Green Arrow had to show Jordan the inhumane conditions these tenants lived in. In the end, Green Arrow convinced Jordan to understand the situation and change his perspective. Number 2, killed Guy Gardner. This time we have the story of how Hal Jordan killed Guy Gardner, another character from the Green Lantern universe. In one story in the Injustice series, Hal, wearing the yellow ring, engaged Guy in a brutal fight. After rendering Guy, Sinestro appeared and asked Hal to kill him. In a cowardly act, Hal ripped Guy's arm off and threw him from where they were. After that, Hal started hallucinating and was haunted by what he had done, but it was too late. It's really nerve-wracking to see Hal Jordan's villainy in the Injustice universe. Number 1, screwed up all of DC. Hal Jordan unwittingly contributed to screwing up the entire DCU before DC even tried to start the expanded universe of films with Batman and Justice League. He would be the protagonist of the film that would kick off, but the result was not satisfactory for many. The Green Lantern movie, with Ryan Reynolds, divided opinions, even though it has many cool elements. In addition, the post-credits scene with Sinestro using the yellow ring, which could be a hook for future films, ended up being in vain, since there was no continuity. That's just one of Hal Jordan's negative contributions to the DC universe in theaters. What was the most terrible act that Hal Jordan ever committed? Comment down here, like and subscribe to the channel.